I hope this is just a journalistic story because those journalists do write some stories, anything to get a click. I myself did not click on that story because that is why the keeps happening. If you see a headline that doesn't seem true to you, do not click. They keep track of how many people click. I don't know if Jason Wilcox had anything to do with that, but I'm gonna say he did. And why am I gonna say he did? Because it happened after he was appointed, right? So I think that maybe Jason Wilcox and Ten Hag sat down together and talked about like the weaknesses of the team, what we need to do, how we can change, how we can move forward. Something Wayne Gretzky said a whole long time ago. I never played hockey, but something Wayne Gretzky said a whole long time ago, which kind of relates to what we're talking about here, is he said he never skated to the puck. He always skated to where the puck's gonna be. Nani, some games was like ineffective, but some games he was unplayable. Unplayable. We don't have a player right now that I can look you in the eyes and say, I'm ready to put $1,000 that he's going to have at least 3 games this season that he's going to be unplayable. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Thank you for clicking and thank you for joining me again for another video. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about something that is going on right now in the Manchester United community, the fan base. Every video, everything I see, everything around is Ten Hag the right man? Are we getting rid of Ten Hag? Barada backs Ten Hag. Oh, wait a minute. Tuchel's being lined up to take Ten Hag's place. I'll tell you right now, I do not want, never have I wanted Tommy Tickles to come and join our team or be our leader or be our manager. So I hope the rumors are not true. I hope this is just a bullshit journalistic story because those journalists do write some bullshit stories, anything to get a click. I myself did not click on that story because that is why the bullshit keeps happening. If you see a headline that doesn't seem true to you, do not click. They keep track of how many people click. And the more people click on bullshit stories like that, they will keep writing more bullshit stories like that and putting it on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it to see if they can get more clicks. So when I see something, a headline I don't like, I don't try to dive in. I try not to get curious. It's hard. It's really hard. I had to train myself to be this way. But I'm like, that sounds like bullshit. I'm not clicking. I am not going to give that person the benefit of seeing their click count go up because they wrote some bullshit headline that is going to get me to click. So I urge you to do the same, but to each their own. If you don't feel like doing that and you can't help yourself, you get curious, you have to read the story, go ahead. But just know it's because of our clicks that they keep writing this bullshit, this nonsense. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's video. Today's video, I rewatched the game today. I went to work, I worked a full shift, and then I came back and I rewatched the game. And watching the game was just like work. It was fucking depressing. And actually, work was better. Watching that game again was depressing, stressful, and a couple things I noticed that I want to bring up in this video to talk a little bit about. Is Ten Hag the issue or not? And the answer to that is yes and no, by the way. So I'll cut to the chase and just tell you yes and no. Ten Hag is the issue, but also he's not the issue. So, and we'll talk about that and I'll describe why I feel that way so that if you're watching videos out there that are kind of like bashing Ten Hag or videos that maybe aren't bashing Ten Hag, you can actually make your mind up for yourself if you listen to my explanation, and you can take whichever route you want to take, or you can just flat out disagree with me and tell me I'm full of shit, and that's fine too. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't know everything about everything. I don't claim to know everything about everything. I'm just sharing my opinions. So let's dive right in. So let's first start with our playing style, which it looks like we changed for the FA Cup, or actually right before the FA Cup final. We played like the last 2 games of the season in the same way we played the FA Cup final with that 4-2-4 setup, which I don't know if Jason Wilcox had anything to do with that, but I'm gonna say he did. And why am I gonna say he did? Because it happened after he was appointed, right? So I think that maybe Jason Wilcox and Ten Hag sat down together and talked about like the weaknesses of the team, what we need to do, how we can change, how we can move forward, and maybe they came up with this strategy of the 4-2-4 setup, having Bruno play a lot more forward and see if we can change our pressing patterns and our pressing style that way and get some better results out of it. And it worked. It worked initially. It does continue to work when it's done correctly. But let's break that down. Let's talk about the 4-2-4, what it means, and how it basically changes our personnel or what our personnel needs to be able to do. So if we're going to go with a 4-2 and then 4, those two, which are Menu and Casemiro have to be extremely athletic. Think about it. Their line is just two of them. So they're covering the whole midfield. Now, I'm not saying they're covering the sides. They're not. The fullbacks will step up and cover the wingers. But if the opposing team gets a ball into the middle of the field, those two have to be ready to pounce, and they have to be perfectly well positioned to pounce. And that's an issue. That's the biggest issue, is the personnel we have in those spots are not the most fit. Now, I'm throwing in Kobe Mainoo in the same bus as Casemiro here, because Kobe Mainoo is not the fastest. And because you're not the fastest, then you have to be smarter. If you're not blessed with speed, which, by the way, I'll hold my hands up, I am one of those kind of players or people that is not blessed with speed. And I played a lot of sports growing up. And as some of you know, I actually still work in sports to this day. So I played a lot of sports growing up, everything from soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, to American football, which I sucked at. And I'll also hold my hands up and tell you I was really bad at, I was a fullback in my high school football team and I sucked. So there you go. I didn't really play that much. I was on the sidelines when it came to that sport. But I did play soccer growing up, and I wasn't born in this country, by the way. So I played soccer outside of this country. And also, I played a lot of basketball in high school. And basically in all kind of sports, I'm slow. I'm very slow. I don't run fast. I don't jump high. I'm not physically gifted like some of my teammates were. But I got my position on these teams by being smarter, by being able to read the plays, by being able to get to a position before the play got there. Something Wayne Gretzky said a whole long time ago. I never played hockey, but something Wayne Gretzky said a whole long time ago, which kind of relates to what we're talking about here, is he said he never skated to the puck. He always skated to where the puck's gonna be. So you have to kind of read the play, see what's going on, be able to foretell the future a little bit, or at least a good chance of foretelling the future. You got to be like, there's an 80% chance the play is going to be right here, so I need to get myself prepared and start jogging over there. And that's how a Kobe Mainoo has to be. That's what Kobe Mainoo has to develop into. And right now, I got to tell you guys, I love that kid. I love that kid. I think he's one of the most talented midfielders that we've ever had come out of our academy in the modern day, after the Ferguson retirement, that is. But I don't see the foretelling or the intelligence of being able to know that, oh, I better start running over there early. That's what caused the breakdown early in the game that led to the goal that was an offside goal that Liverpool had. Just watch it over again. You'll see it's in the 6th minute. It's easy to find. And you'll see that Kobe was just a little late, and then he decided to keep pressing on instead of dropping back. I talked about this in the last video, so I'll stop there. Now, the point is, though, when you have a 4-2-4, those two cannot be both physically inept, basically not fast, but also slow to react, or slow with the brain, slow with the, oh, I should have been there. You know, I should have been able to foretell that that's where I need to go. You can't be both. Either you don't have to be that intelligent if you're fast. You'll get away with it because you're fast enough to catch up to the play after it happens. But if you're not fast enough to catch up to the play, then you have to be able to kind of see and read the play in front of you and see it one step. You got to be like 3 seconds ahead of it happening. You don't have to be a minute ahead because that's impossible, but you do have to be 3 to 4 seconds ahead of the play and go, oh, I better get over there. Now, that might even deter the play from happening because the opposing team might go, oh, he's already jogging over there. I'm going to recycle the ball. And that's fine too. That's good. It's better than it breaking down. So that's one of the issues, the personnel. Now, does that mean Erik ten Hag's not to blame? No. You could be somebody who switches that or flips it and says, well, then the manager should play a different way with the personnel he has. And that's also true. That's why I'm saying he's to blame, but he's also not to blame. It really depends on how you want to look at it. It really depends on if you're looking at it in a way where you're going, well, then the manager should adapt to the players he has, which, sure, I see the validity in that. I see the point there. But it is also the whole fact that we have a new footballing structure. They know how he wants to play. They were there for the FA Cup final. Every single one of them saw that game. And as I said, I believe Jason Wilcox even had a say so in that formation, if you will, because the same coaches were in charge before that, and they never did that. They always played the 4-2-3-1. So they switched to a 4-2-4 after Wilcox was hired. So he either was a part of that decision or very well knew that that decision was taking place. He is a technical director, right? So if they knew that, they knew the back line needed fixing, and I praise them. And again, I am not INEOS bashing here. I'm just talking to you face-to-face logically. They knew the back line needed fixing, and it seems like they did that. They brought in a couple of really good center backs that I'm very happy with, and Lenny Euro and Matthias de Ligt. They brought in a Mazraoui, who seems to be doing a fantastic job at fullback. And right now, Delo's playing left back. They didn't bring in a left back. I wish they did, but they didn't, and that's fine. Delo's playing left back. He's doing an honorable job. I don't think it suits him, but he is doing a good job. And it looks like one of our left backs, either Malacia or Luke Shaw, are going to be ready to go, hopefully in the next month or 3 weeks. At least that's what I've read, that they're both doing decent in recovery. So we will have a left back soon. Now, they also knew that we had a center midfield problem, and that should have been the priority. And we heard months ago that Joao Neves was our main target. Now, obviously, Joao Neves ended up being too expensive, so they switched to Manuel Ugarte. Problem is, though, 2 spots is what we're talking about. 4-2-4. Now, you could be thinking, and I think that's what they were thinking, they could be thinking, well, we still have Mason Mount, and Mason Mount can play a role in that midfield. And it's true, he could. He's actually, I think he's great. I think he's really cool. I like his work rate. I like what he does out of possession a lot. And I think given a lot more game time and getting his feet back under him, because he has missed a lot of games in the last 18 months or 2 years. So he's a little bit like stale with the ball. That's not the right way to say it, but he needs some time, and he'll get his feet back under him, and I think he'll start getting better in possession too. But out of possession, the guy's been amazing. He's been great. He's been covering everywhere, and I like that. But it looks like he's injury prone. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to think the man's injury prone. He was injured the last season with Chelsea, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do believe he had an injury the last season with Chelsea. He was injured with us for a long time last season, and now he's injured again. So he might be injury prone. And basically what I'm trying to get at is we needed 2 really good starting midfielder caliber signings. We needed 2. Manuel Ugarte is not enough. He hasn't even started yet. And that's the other thing. They delayed signing him. He hasn't even started yet. But we needed 2. One's not going to be enough. Can you imagine the pressure Manuel Ugarte? And Manuel Ugarte is not even going to be able to do some of the things we need someone in that pivot to do. We are asking Casemiro, which, by the way, watch the game again if you can, if you have the heart for it. It was hard, but if you have the heart for it, watch the game again or any of our games. And you'll notice that, like, we want to sometimes break the opposing team's press by passing right up the midfield. We do try to pass out to the wingers. I wish Onana would send that ball a little bit more often out to our fullbacks. I said wingers a second ago. I meant fullbacks. Out to our fullbacks. But most of the time, Onana's giving it to one of our center backs. Our center backs might pass it to a fullback. It doesn't work up the sideline. Against Liverpool, it didn't. So they rotate it back to the center back. And then the center back might look up the middle. And most of the time, when you watch that Liverpool game, very rarely is that up the middle pass to Kobe Mainoo. Probably because the other team is making sure that Mainoo's tightly guarded because he's the better one on the ball. He's the better one out of him and Casemiro on the ball. So Cass ends up, even if this wasn't the case, even if I'm wrong, Cass is going to end up getting the ball sometimes, half the time. Sometimes it's going to go to Kobe Mainoo. Sometimes it's going to go Casemiro against the press. Manuel Ugarte is, if anything else, even worse than Casemiro at passing forward out of the press. So if you pass it to Manuel Ugarte, he's just going to pass it right back to you or go sideways. Like it's not going to go anywhere. We're still stuck on our half of the field or in our 18-yard box or in our third, I should say, in our defensive third, still trying to figure out how we're going to get the ball down the field. This is where I think Bruno Fernandes needs to come back on. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I look at the shape of the team and I start thinking Bruno needs to come back and help. We might need 3 midfielders in there when we're at a goal kick or when we have the ball on our third. We might need 3 midfielders in there to kind of pass the ball along with each other because we can't seem to get out of our third against a well-pressing team like Liverpool was, like Brighton did to us. We could not get out of our third too many times. And maybe when out of possession, we can work with the 4-2-4 when we're pressing them. But in possession, Bruno's a little too far ahead. Now, the other thing that drives me nuts when you watch the game is that every time we get a turnover, every time we win possession of the ball, everybody's running forward. I don't think that's what the manager is saying. A lot of you will know this, and a lot of you will say, yeah, you're right. Like, that's a Ten Hag thing. I don't think it's a Ten Hag thing, guys. I don't think it's a Ten Hag thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've heard Ten Hag say he doesn't want our football matches to turn into tennis or basketball matches, where it's just back and forth, back and forth. Well, if you don't want it to go back and forth, that literally means that when the ball's turned over, not every time does every single person run forward. Some people have to stay back and give an option to the guy who has the ball. That's not always a long option. It just feels like we're allergic to the ball. We literally, I've said this before in my earlier videos. Some of you guys haven't seen those videos because I only used to get like 46 views 3 months ago. So 3 or 4 months ago when I first started this channel, I literally started this channel before we won the FA Cup game. We were in a lousy place. We were losing a lot. And I was saying, the problem was that it feels like we're allergic to the ball. We're allergic to holding on to the ball. Everything is either Bruno Fernandes sending it or Casemiro sending it or Lissandro was injured. Somebody was always trying to make that Hollywood pass right past the thing to Rashford or to Garnacho or whatever. And I was like, this isn't football. This isn't the game. If you guys play Ultimate Team, FIFA Ultimate Team, EA Sports, whatever, FIFA Ultimate Team, you ever play against that guy who's on all-out attack and everything he does is a lob through ball or a really hard through ball, and that's all he's trying to do is beat you with his like Mbappe card or some fast player that he has, and he's just trying to rat and get that through ball over. It used to happen more in FIFA like 17 back in the day. I'm aging myself right now, but it used to happen a lot. I don't know if it still happens. I don't play it that much anymore, but over the top through balls, and you're just like, you've got no skill. And the next thing you know, he beats you doing it, so he's going to keep doing it. It drives me nuts. That's what it looks like we're doing. So, just keep sending through balls. If we can get 3 through and we score one of them, that's 1 goal. We do that once in each half, that's 2 goals. Hopefully we'll win. And then sometimes it never works because the other team is just like, hey, just stay with that guy when he runs and try not to let that other guy send a pass. But if he does, it's fine. Just stay with this guy. It's elementary. It's so stupid. And I don't think Ten Hag is that simple-minded. I don't think that's what he wants. I think our players are maybe just not intelligent enough to work things out on their own. Maybe. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me or not. I know I'm saying a lot of things that might be pissing some of you guys off. I'm just telling you what I see. This is what I see. A long time ago, not even that long ago, a man named Ralph Rangnick said we needed open heart surgery. We are not there yet. We're halfway there. We needed a quintuple bypass. We've only done a 2. What do you call that? A double? Yeah, we've done a double bypass. We still need another triple bypass to like complete the heart surgery we need. Basically what I'm saying is we fixed the back line almost. Not even that is complete because we don't have a left back yet. But we have kind of fixed the back line. We need another left-footed center back, and we need another left back. In my opinion, maybe they don't agree with me. Maybe Luke Shaw and Malacia come back, and they never get injured again. If you believe that, you're crazy. We need another left back, and we need a left-footed center back, and then the back line's fixed. We need 2 more midfielders. One that can play in the 10 role so that Bruno's not playing every single game and having to do every single thing to create every single chance. We need another number 10. And we need someone else who can break like a box-to-box, like a Joao Neves. I don't know how else to say it. Like a Joao Neves, but maybe taller. Maybe someone with a little more height that fits the Premier League a little better. But someone who can go box-to-box but also can pass. So he can pass forward, but he can also defend a little bit. Maybe not as good as Ugarte defending, but can defend. And then, I said it in my last video, we need that son of a bitch forward. You know what I'm talking about. We need that forward that that gets us out of our seat. That forward that all of us are like, give him the ball and get out of his way and let's see what he can do against his defender. We need that guy. We don't have that guy. We don't have that guy. We have guys who are trying to run and hope to God that a touchdown pass is coming overhead so they can be one-on-one through with the goalie. Like, come on, dude. Come on, please. Please use your teammates. We don't use the team. Every time we actually have some sort of like 4, 5, 6, 7 pass combination that leads to us moving the ball forward, you see it clipped up and on Twitter all day long. Like, look at this. Look at 10 hog ball, ollie ball, whatever. It doesn't happen enough. It needs to happen 2 or 3 times a game. I'm not 10 hog out, but I will say that that's one thing about the Zerbi ball that I liked. I don't like Tuchel ball. I don't want that. It's not going to, I just don't want to watch it. It might work. I don't want to watch Tuchel ball. I don't want to watch Tommy Tickles come in and say, we're not going to play a 4-2-4 because we don't have the right personnel for it. We're going to play a 5-3-2 or a 4-5-1 or whatever. We're going to pack the house like this. And we're only going to create like 4 chances per game, but they're not going to create any chances. I don't want to watch that either, guys. That's pretty boring. We might win more games. And that might be okay with some of you, but like that's not what I grew up on. That's not why I fell in love with Manchester United. I fell in love with Manchester United because we had hard-nosed defenders. We had decently hard-nosed midfielders who could also pass the ball. And then we had forwards that were all sons of bitches. And I mean that as a compliment. I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean, we had like Tevez, Rooney, Cristiano. Even Chicharito was deadly in front of goal. Like, Nani, who was nasty sometimes. Nani was unplayable sometimes. Nani had his issues. Nani, some games was like ineffective, but some games he was unplayable. Unplayable. We don't have a player right now that I can look you in the eyes and say, I'm ready to put $1,000 that he's going to have at least 3 games this season that he's going to be unplayable. I might lose that cash. I don't think we have that forward. Whereas Nani, as maybe, as inconsistent as he was, I could put down $1,000 every season. He's going to have at least 3 games where he's unplayable, and I would win that bet. Guys, if I'm talking crazy, if I'm out of my mind, leave a comment. Let me know. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you for clicking on the video. That's all I have for you today. I will make another video over the weekend, even though we don't have a game. I will talk a little bit about the international football and how much I wish they weren't off on international football. All I want is for Ten Hag to have the crew together for a week without another game and work with these problems and these weaknesses that we need to sort out. But he's not going to get that opportunity. Too bad for him. If you want Ten Hag in or out, let me know in the comments. I'm actually curious of what kind of viewers I have. Like, what are the guys who are watching me thinking? Like, am I like completely up against, like, well, I'm not Ten Hag in or out. I'm definitely Thomas Tuchel, no way. Like, I don't want that. But if Ten Hag's staying, then we should have got him the midfielders he needed to play this 4-2-4, which is what I'm trying to get at. But we need to give him time. And I know some of you guys are going to be like, what are you talking about time? He's already had time. He just got a bunch of new coaches. And Ruud van Nistelrooy and Rene Haka. We need to give them time as a group to solve these issues. Now, if they don't solve them by January, guys, then I get it. I'm going to be Ten Hag out too. But I hope they don't solve them by packing in the house and parking the bus and playing very boring style of football. I hope they solve them by maybe changing the shape a little bit, but by mostly telling their guys to stop being allergic to the ball. Stop being allergic to the ball. There's a difference between passing it around for no reason, like sometimes Man City do, which I don't want to do, but also just giving it away every 5 seconds because, oh, Rashford's a willing runner. Let me kick it up there and see if he gets it. Like, that's just not good football either. Guys, thanks again for joining me. Drop a like if you like what I do. Thank you very much for all the likes for the last video. It blew my mind. Thank you so much. And subscribe if you haven't. Keep in touch. Notifications. I don't even know what I just said. See what I mean? I'm not good at this. Thank you.